This water is just stunning, and I hope you can watch it in HD in 1080p. There you go. The water is stunning. Just look at the blueness of it. They call it Bonin Blue, and they actually have a name for it, which was really curious to me. But Bonin is the name of the island before Japan renamed it Ogasawara, and I think mid-1870s they changed the name from Bonin to Ogasawara.
1,000-kilometer ferry ride from the city of Tokyo into the Pacific to here, which is paradise, and actually Tokyo.
How do I stop it?
Many people refer to this as the Galapagos of the East.
Notice the sweat marks. Classic.
It is beautiful, and if you make that 24-hour boat ride, you're rewarded with delicious food, friendly people, pristine beaches, awesome scuba diving,
and views like this. Drone shots. It was really beautiful. Oh man, right here. Aha, I love this. And I had to get special permission to get the drone shots.
It's hard to believe this is part of Tokyo.
I launched it from a boat here. You can see it here.
Truly
and here's the boat again. I had to launch the drone from the boat. That's the only legal way to do it.
It all starts with the ferry, a 24-hour trip from the city center. The boat is always a welcome sight in town.
I lost one of the SD cards. This was the SD card on the last 2 days. So I lost some video from a sushi shop that I'd filmed with Island Sushi and these boat scenes. But what I did was I always take video with the iPhone. So this is second video safe video that I took with the iPhone. Thank goodness I had it, including my departure. I had a lot of video from the boat looking at people jumping into the Pacific, but I only had the video from my iPhone, which I used in the ending, and thank goodness for that. Better to be safe than sorry.
Arriving passengers are given an island welcome. Many people turn out for the once-a-week event.
It's hard to stop it. How do I stop it? So, I'm going to put the mouse pad here. It was very emotional to arrive and see all the people waiting for me, but it was even more emotional to leave. And you're going to see that at the end if you haven't already seen it. But the arrival was really amazing to see all the people there to meet you.
After a full day on board, it's a pleasure to finally arrive.
It really was. 24 hours is a long time. The spacebar doesn't work to stop. Look. Oh, it does. Oh, it works. Oh, okay. Thanks. There you go. Yeah, I was really happy to get off of the boat. I'll be honest with you. I was very happy. See?
All right, we're here. It's hot. What an amazing trip. It's been 25 hours. We're finally here. Ogasawara. You get off the boat. You're greeted with music. It's a really warm welcome, and just looking around, you can see tons of hotels, tons of dive shops.
Everybody was there to meet you except for my hotel, Townhouse Mitsu. The owner, Kenny, he doesn't come to the pier.
Finding where they're going to be going next, it's really warm. I like it. Like, literally, there's warm people and warm temperature.
Except for my hotel owner, he didn't come to the pier.
I got to get inside. I need a drink. While I make my way to the
I actually did get a drink.
Hotel. Let's see where exactly Ogasawara is in Tokyo. There's the megatropolis.
I always like the Google Maps. You know what, Google, I like your maps.
The ferry departs weekly from Takeshiba Port near Hamamatsucho Station. Then you have to travel 1,000 kilometers from the mainland out into the Pacific.
There's Hachijojima and where's Aogashima? Hold on a second. This is where Hachijojima and Aogashima is, okay? Right here.
Passing all other Tokyo islands like Hachijojima and Aogashima.
We are really far away.
The archipelago is referred to as the Bonin Islands, and only 2 islands are inhabited. Chichijima with about 2,000
Love seeing places where I grew up. Iwakuni again, please. All right. I love Iwakuni. Thanks for the super chat.
Ogasawara village on Chichijima is the heart of the...
All right. I forgot what I was going to say. This premiere stinks if you forget what you're going to say. I never forget what I'm going to say. Chichijima, the town of Chichijima.
The archipelago.
You know, there's only 2,000 people on the island, they said. It seemed like a lot more.
Where the local government resides.
All right, here's where the story starts.
My hotel was also the first hotel on the island.
That's true. NHK was here in 1968. There was no place for NHK. Thanks, Mix. Hopefully more videos on Ogasawara. Yeah, I would love, if this video does well, I would love to go back and do more. If the video doesn't do well, I have a policy of not redoing the same topic because it didn't do well, so people didn't like it. That's what I figure. This hotel has not changed much since like 50 years or before that. Even they said that the gate for this is where the U.S. Navy had the gate. Now there's a story that I gotta tell you that's behind the scenes. All right, this is a mountain here. This mountain here also housed the U.S. Aegis missile, the nuclear warheads aimed at the Soviet Union until 1968. So when they had the Japanese government kind of knew about it. I believe, I don't know how long they had this. I think they had it even after the handover. But this housed the U.S. nuclear missiles pointed at the Soviet Union, which is pretty bad arse. And then inside of here, this mountain, there's a secret entrance where you can see some weird structure. And I didn't put it in the video because I don't want people to go in there, but it's very, very weird. And one day I will show you what we found inside that mountain, because the owner of Townhouse, Mitsu, showed me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. He's a great guy, by the way.
Townhouse Mitsu is where the U.S. military gate was in the 1950s and 60s.
It's true.
And where journalists stayed to cover the island when it opened up after the handover to Japan in 1968.
Simple, but
it's comfortable and locally run, very close to the port.
That's me.
This is also where I realized that the island was once San Francisco, California.
This was cool. This, and a lot of the islanders didn't even know this. This is the only address marker from 50 years ago that's still around, and you can still see, if you look, San Francisco, California, 96636, and you can see it there.
96636.
Good night, Yogi.
The address written on a buoy half a century ago. The best way to get around the island is by motorbike.
It's true.
And you can rent 50cc bikes with an international or Japanese driver's license. Motorbikes or scooters offer...
This was really hard to... I could only get the motorbike for 4 or 5 days out of the 10 days. Less than half of the time I had the motorbike because you have to reserve it at least a month in advance. They just didn't have it. And it was one of my friends on the island that I met who called the owner, and they had a secret motorcycle somewhere that I was able to use. And I don't want to talk too much about that, but it's who you know, maybe. Director's commentary.
Ogasawara Village is much bigger than I thought it would be. There are many restaurants, izakaya, and...
If you look at the boat in the time lapse, you can see it shaking left and right. That's pretty funny, I thought.
fresh fruits, vegetables, and other perishables.
2 supermarkets on the island.
Up a few hours after it arrives.
They knew me by the time I left.
The town is comfortable. Parks and places to relax. Several
I was
cafes
in here a
and
lot.
picnic tables for lunch.
That is the swordfish sashimi bowl that we did a live stream on.
And it's never too far from a beautiful beach.
This is right across from this. This is right in this town. This is in the center
By
of
the
town.
port, there's a monument to Commodore Perry, who stopped here on the way to Edo in 1853. The history of the island starts as a whaling town.
I almost fell in the trap of talking too much about the history, about the black ship and attacking Edo, but I went back and I just focused on the Savory family.
European and Pacific Islanders have lived together for generations in peace. A reason why the islanders here are so friendly to outsiders.
This came all from Sho Sabori's photo album inside here, and their show right there.
Island's founder. It's
That's
one
me.
of the newest hotels on the island, and has a delicious Western menu.
It was really good.
I sat down with Sho Sabori, who is the 6th generation of Sabori to be born on the island.
Look at the trees behind there. It's just so beautiful.
バスはアメリカのマサチューセッツ出身でハワイに住ん
he was really nervous because he was speaking English. We took this for a while, but in the end, he relaxed more because I didn't have a whole cameraman and crew. It was just me. So I said, let's just talk like we're normally talking. And it came out a lot better. If he was trying to be proper, like an interview like this, said this is gonna stink. So just talk like you talk. In fact, English is fine. So now he talks in English at the end.
After World War II, the U.S. took over the island, and Sho's father's generation learned at American schools until 1968.
Listen.
Because my fourth generation, my grandparents cannot speak English, so my father talks with them.
His eyes change when he speaks in
And
English.
then, but go out of house, so many U.S. Navy, when their children also went to the school with the Islander together, and then speak only English.
So your father's generation, all of the people on the island from your father's generation can speak pretty good English.
Pretty good English.
You can see his personality when he speaks in English, right?
I think almost native English.
Girl Speedo lived in Tokyo years ago and now a Londoner. Your videos and live streams are a way to relive life in Japan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Girl Speedo. I appreciate that. All right, this is when things turned a little wicked in the video.
The Japanese military during World War
I wanted to focus on some of the World War II stuff that I was finding around the island, but I didn't want this to become too much of the story because it could have been a separate episode. So I only added in a little bit. There were a couple of really fascinating stories, including the one with former President George Bush that nobody ever really focuses on in the videos on Ogasawara. They look at the beaches, they look at Minamijima and the sights and the blue water, but they never focus on the history. So when I went back in there, and the ghosts, and when I went back in here, I said, I gotta add something about the history. So I started talking to the locals about the stories about H.W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, about how he was shot down in 1944. And he came back in 2002, and I'd never heard about this story. In fact, a lot of the people were telling me that this was kind of a secret story that CNN came with them, but it was never really highly covered. And in fact, George Bush himself did not want to overly publicize this. There wasn't a whole media crew. There was no Japanese media at all, I believe. There was just a couple of people that were alive and on the island when his plane crashed and was shot down. And they went up to him, and at that moment, I heard George Bush really became emotional. And the reason he went, the president, this is former President George Bush's father, the Papa Bush, as we say in Japan. And he really was very emotional about his trip. And I think President George Bush, he did a lot in his life. I mean, a lot more than his sons. He was very, very, and it's hard to talk about. I'm not a historian, but the guy was director of the CIA. He was a vice president. He was also shot down in an airplane. Not a lot of people can say that they've had these experiences. He's lived a lot, all right? And I think from 1944 to 2002, he was holding in and living with all of that, those feelings from 1944, and his crew was part of the Chichi-jima incident, which is something that people don't like to talk about, but it's just a part of the history. You can't escape it, but you can move on from it. And Herbert Walker Bush went in 2002 to move on from this. So that means it wasn't until 2002 that he could move on from this ordeal that had been just tormenting him. Guys, I want to tell you one story that I heard. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it is somewhat significant, and I might touch on this in another live stream. There was a time during George Bush's president, I think he was in Japan, and he threw up. Do you guys remember this? He got sick in Japan, and a lot of people said it was because of the food. And I just know this because I read this somewhere, but it might be possible because he was holding on to this for such a long time. I really don't know what was going through his mind, but I heard that there was a joke that about eating people, and all those memories from the incident in World War II just affected him mentally, and that's what made him throw up, because it was such a horrific thing to live through, and then to know that your crew was cannibalized. That's part of the background of the island, because they didn't have any food on the island. It was just an awful, awful ordeal. There's no excuse for it, but that was when somebody made a joke about it. That was why he lost his lunch, and a lot of people thought it was just because of the food. It was because of getting shot down. So, man, I mean, I got chills being on the island, and hearing these things. So
It remains
I
here
never
in
heard
decay.
about it. The incident makes me very sad too. Like, this is an air raid barracks from World War II. But it's these reminders. You can't run away from your past or your history, but you can learn from it. And these reminders are special to the Islanders, not in a good way, but as a reminder of where they came from. Most of the Islanders were evacuated from the island now. They had to go to Tokyo, and then they returned after the war. So they weren't here when this bad stuff was happening, but they had to live with the aftermath of it. And a lot of people, they don't want to move the wrecks and the cannons and the guns from there, because it's something that they learn from, I guess, you know. I didn't put the Monterey in it.
You'll
That's in
also
the
find
next
a lot of wrecks, cannons, and guns in the jungle, like this one.
the exact same
They
gun.
lie where they were left, a reminder of the island's past. It was at that time that former President George Bush, a pilot in the U.S. Navy, was shot down. He was the only survivor of a horrific ordeal on the island. But President Bush returned to Chichijima in 2002 to remember those that were lost on that tragic day.
This is a CNN news crew. Was the only crew that was there. He didn't want any other media there. There's no video, nope, and there's only pictures that Islanders took on Chichijima. There's not much, and this is a really low resolution image. This is the only one I could find and get my hands on for this video. It's a story that's so buried that nobody really knew about it.
And put the events behind him.
And you can clearly see that's President George Bush giving a hug to I guess this is the the mayor of Ogasawara, and he also met with, and there were other pictures, but he also met with other World War II veterans on the Japanese side that were on Chichijima the day he was shot down. Alright. I can't imagine what was going
A
through his
lot of
mind.
life was lost during the island's war days, which is why Islanders now are very protective of the life around it.
Over the course of the last 10 days, I always do some kind of silly, like, insert in videos like this. Aogashima had the Death Hill. This one had the tunnel. And it was just something, the longer you stay on the island, the more you walk through, you start to walk the path that the locals walk. And this tunnel is just so creepy. And at night, this is how I had to walk to go to eat dinner and then walk back to the hotel.
Of staying on this island, I've
Many
had
times.
to walk through that tunnel about a dozen times, and I gotta tell you, every time has been, especially after dark, nerve-wracking, because somebody told me that in there are ghosts. And now this tunnel is a shortcut. It was created by the Japanese army about 75 years ago, and it cuts straight through to the ferry terminal from Townhouse, Mitsu. It's so convenient, and yet it's so scary. You can go around on this road, but it wasn't built 75 years ago. This was. The tunnel doesn't seem to have any background story, but it's a reminder of the island's purpose during the war. Until 1968, the island was used by both Japanese and U.S. military. The tunnel, the first thing you see after leaving the ship.
It is. Because Kenny didn't meet me at the port, which, you don't have to. I knew how to get there. I had to walk through this tunnel to get to Townhouse Mitsu, and it was pretty creepy.
It's scary.
In the daytime.
Do you think it's haunted?
No. Yes. No.
This is
maybe.
Eco Village Pulan, located in the island's jungle.
I don't
The
know.
owner is Shimizu-san, who used to be a Japanese salaryman in Tokyo, but moved here out of concern for the condition of nature in the oceans, and changed his life to live sustainably to protect it. He's inspiring others to do the same with his guest house.
Everybody can change their life.
I like this
Then
guy.
I try to.
I'm gonna fast forward, and then talk about Shimizu-san a little bit. I didn't make an advance reservation. This is some director's notes here. I didn't make an advance reservation on the island. I kind of did this maybe a week before I went. Now, there weren't a lot of places to stay on the island, and when you don't make a reservation, especially in the high season, even though it wasn't, there's just not a lot of accommodation there. Townhouse Mitsu had a cancellation, that's why I could stay there for 3 nights. The diving place wanted me to dive there, so I had a place to stay for a few nights while I was scuba diving. And then I needed a place to stay for the last couple of nights. Shimizu-san opened up a room for me, and I'm always going to be grateful for him, but I didn't even spend the night there. Wait, I spent 1 night there. It is really in the jungle. I remember I went out to the toilet, and there was, next to the toilet, there's the bucket toilet, and then there's another, like, normal toilet. And it's not normal because you pour the laundry water, you recycle the laundry water into the toilet. But standing next to the toilet was a spider, I kid you not, about this big, looking at me. And this is like 1 in the morning, and I had to go pee-pee. And I opened the door, and there was a tarantula right there. It was looking at me. I mean, it had eyes. I think it had eyes. It was dark. I turned around, and I peed in the bucket instead, and I went back to the room, and I locked the door. And you didn't even have a lock. I don't know how I locked the door. I think I propped my bag against it because I didn't want that spider to come in. It was big. Now, it's not for everybody to live in the jungle. And just because you want to, live an eco-friendly life, you please consider that there's no air conditioning. It's hot. The rooms are they're not like finished rooms. It's basically like a cabin. It's kind of a cool experience if you like camping. But I had all my camera equipment with me. I had to edit video. I had to charge a lot of stuff. I was there for job, not for, camping. So the next day I moved to another hotel for the last 2 nights. A cancellation opened up, and I got a chance to stay in the city again because I had to finish the video. But Shimizu-san he himself is a jewel. The guy's got a heart of gold and a smile so big. You see him coming in his truck from a mile away, and when you meet him, it's hard not to like him. And I think you guys, when you watch his interview, you get that feeling too. He's just one of the most likable people, and I highly recommend it. You know what? Spend a night or two at Pulan. I think it's kind of worth it to see the uniqueness, and it's also near this cafe, this coffee shop, which makes their own coffee from bean to glass. Yeah. I didn't get a good sunset, which was a shame.
One of the activities that you can do on Chichijima is jungle trekking.
Yeah.
You have to leave town for that.
I love this view looking down at the village.
On the nature that
I'm gonna skip through
to
this.
minimize-
Hold on a second.
when you do come upon trails, you have to have a... But it's so pristine Minamijima next time, where the turtles lay their eggs, and marine life explore.
Alright. This is my favorite part of them. Now, the sad thing is that a lot of people aren't even going to get to the end because videos usually have an average watch time of about 7 to 8 minutes on the Only Japan main channel. So I don't think they're even going to get to 15 minutes. But if you do, this is my favorite part of the video. This is my favorite part. You gotta finish strong on every video, and you gotta make a compelling statement at the end of it.
We'll explore the pristine Minamijima next time, where the turtles lay their eggs.
Part 2.
Marine life, part of why this is called the Galapagos of the East.
And we'll dive deep into the sea in search of adventure. There's no telling what we'll find out there.
No telling.
Honestly, the sea is like an aquarium here. The deep color.
I love that. And when I was editing this, spoiler, I haven't. Oh, I'm sorry. That guy. I'm sorry. You know what? You know what? Maybe you want to stop this and just watch it and then come back and watch the playback. I'm kind of skipping through the end now just in case. But the whole time I was editing the scuba diving part with the music change, I said, I gotta totally change this up. And this is when I came up with that music called March of the Moles, which is a free music available from Apple. Sorry, from YouTube. And yeah, it just fit perfectly because I was a big Johnny Quest fan. It's an old cartoon in the United States from, I think, the 1960s. Cartoons used to be on primetime TV back then. Johnny Quest was an animation where he would go out and do scuba diving and do crazy stuff. And I grew up in the 80s. It was still like a cartoon from 20 years ago, but it was still like resonating with me. So I was like, this music totally fits scuba diving and mole men and people in wetsuits, creepy people like sharks. And I thought that was funny. One other thing before I jump to the end, and this is the end. There is this scene here. Hold on a second. Where do I want to get to? Oh, the one with the coffee shop. All right, this is the thing with music. You
They
hear this?
grow and roast their own beans.
It's classical music. I looked at a lot of different songs, and I don't listen to popular music. I listen to royalty-free music. I know all my royalty-free music very well. There's nothing really that went with this. You can get like a coffee theme, and there's like reggae and stuff. But when you cannot, this is a tip for any video creators. When you cannot fit a music with a scene, or there's not an appropriate music, flip the opposite way and make fun of it, and find a way to look at it from a different point of view. Now, coffee and coffee shops can be, like posh, so kind of make it like an upper class type of thing, because it was a really expensive cup of coffee. So instead of trying to make music fit this, I started to think this is kind of a majestic experience. Here I'm in the middle of the jungle, and here's a cafe. How can there be like and the coffee was better than Starbucks. How can there be a cafe in the middle of a jungle? This is high class stuff. So I changed the music to this, to my senses, to just sort of fit like this. So I kind of classed it up a little bit. When you're creating videos, it's hard to fit the music with the scene. So maybe something to think about. All right. When I was editing this, there were a couple of times where I was in tears. I was in tears because when you think about the story, and I was there to live it. When I see the images, it really did make me tear up editing this. I was really sad because I'd made really strong friends with people that were living on the island. I felt really connected to the people there. And to say goodbye, I know I'm not going to be there again for a while. But if I do go back, I'm going to go and say hi to the same people, the friends that I'd made. So saying goodbye was real. And it's so far away. There's no airplane. There's no possibility of going there in a quick amount of time. You can't. It's faster for me to get on a plane and go to India or to go to the United States than it is for me to go to Ogasawara. Ogasawara is more inconvenient to get to than for me to fly to New York. I want you to wrap your head around that. It takes me 14 hours, and I can get on a plane anytime. 14 hours to get from Tokyo to New York. It takes me 24 hours to get here. When you think about it like that, this is really a commitment to make that trip. And if you miss one ferry, you got to stay to the next one, which was 10 days later. So, yeah, I was there for a while, and I really connected with the people here. And there's a scene where they're going, "Itarashai," the little kids, and I'd met a lot of the little kids there. Because, I don't know, kids, they see me and they go crazy. I don't know why. It's crazy. And they said, "Itarashai," and I yelled out, "Itekimasu." I think they were talking to their teacher, but still, I think you have to say, "I'll be back," because I really want to be back, because I met a lot of these people. The guy in the pink is Mana-san, a really, really nice guy. I introduced him to you in a live stream, and I'll see if I can get some of his footage to share with you in a marine episode about Ogasawara. But this is Mana-san in the pink. Mana-san is the one who made the headband and the necklace, the wreath for me. He's right here in the pink, and you can see him waving. Okay, so when you go back and watch the video, check it out, and you'll get some information. This is in the green shirt is the jungle guide, right there. Let's see who else is here. Oh wow, there's the lady from the tourist office. I don't know if I want to give up people's names. I don't know if I should give up people's names. I see a lot of people that I'd met before. Some of the people didn't stay, but many of them did. Wow, yeah. Oh man. It's still...
Depends on how connected you become to the island.
Yeah, Mana-san made this for me. And there's the kids yelling.
After 10 days,
This breaks your heart. When everybody starts walking and they can't go any further than the edge, oh man, it just breaks your heart. And you wanted... Like, a part of me wanted to jump off of the ship and say, I'm coming back. Now, that would have made an interesting video. But I had all my stuff with me. I couldn't obviously do that. But a part of me wanted to do that. It's a part of my brain that always forgets things on the train as well. This is also a tradition. A lot of people might be saying, what a waste. But this is just part of the tradition. You can't take the island with you, I guess. Leave it. You might receive it, but leave it there. Leave it there, and it'll float back, and it's a part of you. When somebody gives you something, it becomes a part of you. So if you give it back to the island, that means a part of you is back on the island, I guess. I tried to think about the symbolism because I had 24 hours to think about it on the boat ride back. But yeah, I guess to me that was the symbolism. I received this from Mana-san. It was a really amazing gift and totally unexpected. He put it on my head and he put it around my neck, and it made me feel really good and special. And I felt like should I throw it? It's like, what a waste. He spent so much time making it, you know? It's so beautiful. I said, should I throw it? But then again, you know, it's a gift, and this is what it's meant to be done with. And in the symbolism, I just thought of it like it's a gift that came to me from the island, from my friend. By throwing it back and seeing it go back to the island, it's a part of me going back there. And for that, I didn't see it as a waste, but some people might see that as such.
again step foot on Ogasawara for another warm embrace.
Now, I had some background sounds of people still yelling, but the music, by the way, I gotta give the artist credit. I will in the description. I don't know if I'd put it in there yet because of the premieres debacle, but an amazing, talented writer for this song, and it just moves you to hear it. So you have the images and then the music. So I took away the background music for the rest of it, except for the scene when they're jumping into the water, and it just moves me when I hear it.
But this is not the end. It seems every available boat is ready and waiting to escort you safely out to sea.
Why do they do this? They go to another step to really stab you in the heart. Like you're already sad to leave, and then they do this? Ah! I love this song. I use this, I believe, in the Night Train. The same artist who wrote the Night Train episode, I used a song similar in the Japanese Night Train episode at the end.
Captain's throttle to keep pace.
Ross Bergen,
Passengers waving tirelessly.
By the way, I'm filming this from the boat that I didn't get on. So I missed one boat to stay longer. So I was on this boat filming these people who left a week before me.
When the boats can no longer keep pace,
I'm not on this boat, basically.
there's one last show of love and respect. Locals will jump into the sea, sometimes flipping with daredevil moves, so you will not forget them. It's always the last thing you see from the boat of the harbor.
I wanted to have video that I took of them jumping, but I lost the SD card. I couldn't find it for some reason, and I think it was okay.
And it's hard not to tear up.
I think it's good to say
Ferry
goodbye
picks
from
up
here.
More speed. Central Tokyo, 24 hours away. But I already know. I'll be back someday to Ogasawara.
My voice is cracking. Like, I'm really sad when I'm narrating that part. I'm really sad to say goodbye to the island. But I'm happy to finish the episode. Happy to finish the episode. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me on this very weird, very weird day. I did not think that I would abandon the the video. Okay, so there's 2,500 views. That's something. I didn't think I would abandon the premiere, but I did because of Scotty, and I gotta reach out to Scotty and say thank you for saving it. Maybe make me almost cry as well. I think, you know what? I don't want to talk about premiere anymore, but just about the video. When I make a video, when I make something that I put on YouTube for the main channel, I want to put a lot of love into it. I want to, it's like a chef, and I think I might have said this before. You really get your hands into the dough, and when you make food, you make it from somewhere special, because that's what you can kind of taste, I think. That's why if you buy something frozen in the supermarket, it doesn't taste as good as when mom makes it, right? And I think it's the same thing with the videos. I can have somebody else edit it, and I probably will someday, but when you edit it yourself, you put a little bit of extra, and you put who you are into your work, and you can taste that, right? You can sense that sense it in what I put up there. And I hope that you got that sense too, because I don't know how much longer I can fight it out and make video content like this, because it kills me to make each one, especially long ones like this one. Like it really took a long time, but when you watch it, I hope you get a sense of where it came from. The episode came from Patreon, believe it or not. A lot of the people supporting on Patreon, without the extra funds, I can't go. It's actually not cheap to get. It was $500 round trip just to get there, plus the hotels, plus the scuba diving, plus a lot of costs to go out there. In the end, I think it was close to about 1 month of what I would make off of Patreon, like the entire month, not including the overhead, because it costs to send packages and stuff like that. But the video came from a place of great care, and I want that to come through the video. I want you to see the work and feel what I felt when I was there, and leave you with that impression. And it's really hard to do that in work, but I think it might be possible. Pozo, I see great documentary. I just watched it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Nosh, directors don't do their own editing. They rely on many other people and teams to execute their vision. That's right, Nosh. I think the great thing about YouTube, and the great thing about my background, if there's anything great about it, it's that I've been doing this, Nosh, since 2003. Making something and editing it, because no one would ever hire me to do anything, and no one would hire me to act, and nobody would buy my work. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to go out and do it myself. And I've been making travel videos before YouTube back in 2003, so I'm used to this. But yeah, you're right, it really is a lot of hard work, and I don't know what the future's gonna be with this, but I'm still really enjoying what I'm putting up there for you guys, and I think I'm just gonna keep doing it like this for a little bit longer, until I can't take it anymore. But I'm just loving it too much, and when I see the videos for myself, and I'm proud of this video, then I don't mind if it gets 1 million views or 1,000 views actually. In that way, I want it to get 1 million views, of course, because I want people to watch what I made, and I want them to like what I made. But for me, it's something that I can always go back and watch myself, and when we have kids or in the future when I'm older, I'm always going to go back and look at this video and any emotion that I have right now, and even when I think about it, it's very emotional. To see the Aogashima video as well, to see the connection that you can make with people, and then say goodbye. It's really, yeah, it's not easy to do. So it's something that now that it's up here public, I'll always have that memory for myself. And then to have other people and to share it with you is just a dream come true. So in that sense, as a creator, that's the ultimate high. But yeah, I want people to watch this. So that's why I bailed on the premiere. And that's why this episode is half premiere and half why I bailed on the premiere. So I hope you guys understand. And if you're YouTube watching this, I'm sorry that your premiere stinks. I hope you fix it. And I hope, Scotty did a lot of work on his episodes, so I hope you find a way to help Scott. They told Scott to re-upload his video, and I can't imagine. Gosh, anytime you work really hard on a video, and I can tell you I did with a lot of videos, and they don't break 5% of the subscriber base, you feel like you're doing something wrong. And it's not that. It's just the algorithm, or people don't find the video, or what. I don't know. But, you just... When things don't go your way... because I've had a lot of the videos work like this, all you do is you put it behind you, you close that door, and you move on to the next one. And you think of a new story, and you think of another way to inspire people. And not every video is going to be a breakout video. But... whatever happens in the past, put it in the past, and you move forward. And that's what you got to do with this as a creator. I don't know what's going to happen with me bailing. I don't know if I'm going to be penalized by it, by the YouTube algorithm. I don't know. I don't even know if the algorithm has enough data to analyze what just happened. But I did bail 3 minutes before the premiere was supposed to start because I was creeped out by the chats and what strange part Scotty said. And we will see. Share the video with your friends, guys. Like the video. Leave a comment in the video. These kinds of things really do help. Tweet the video, retweet the video, I don't know. But if you did and you had a connection with somebody's work, share it. That's what I do. Alright, thanks everybody. Have a good night. I'm glad that we can share this experience together. And if you have any questions, you can leave it in this video, or you can leave it here. Because for me, this is a place where we can connect. And I want to thank one more time, just finally, I wanted to do it in the premiere, but I want to thank the Patreon community. You guys make stuff like this possible by backing and believing in me. And that really is right now is everything, because as you can see, YouTube as a profession is not as stable as this desk. Just not stable. I gotta fix that. You know what I mean? Alright, thanks guys. Have a good night. I will see you maybe in a live stream tomorrow to talk about other stuff that's gonna be positive. But I hope you did enjoy it. Have a good night and see you next time.